Well, as promised, here's our reaction to our very first video.
Oh my goodness.
So before we hit play on this, which again, we gave a shout out to our editor. I don't know how he's going to kind of cut back and forth between this or do some picture in picture, but hopefully you're seeing this first video that we did. This was in October of 2017. Now,
wow, let me get it says that's 2017
Yeah.
and then +3 and +4. Okay, I got you.
so we are almost exactly 7 years.
Wow.
I don't know if I recorded, like, I feel like we were recording one day and I was literally uploading the very next day.
Well, Jed, you look a little more trimmed.
I am a little more trimmed in this one.
And I think I look cooler now than I did then. Actually, I do.
I think as we watch, we are definitely more relaxed than we were in this first video.
Were we a little stiff?
We were a little stiff.
We didn't wear black suits, white shirts, black
No.
ties, and have white walls and be real stern, though, did we?
I will say, I remember, but for people who have never been to our building, where we are in these first videos is in the old fellowship hall of the building.
We're downstairs
Yeah.
near the youth room in the kitchen is where
Yeah.
we're at. Yeah.
And so part of this setup is I was like, please, we don't want to sit in front of a bookshelf and we don't want to be at a table with suit and tie.
You radical, Jed.
I know. I just was like, I want it to feel somewhat casual. So I do remember that. I love seeing that our microphone was so close to us because the room was so echoey that if the microphone was any distance from us,
They may not care about that.
they may not.
Okay.
But here we go. And then just noticing the start of we always had coffee cups with us.
Yes.
You know, we've always had
Yes.
something. So there we go. All right. Anyway, let's dive in. Let's see the video. Recently, we asked our congregation to submit some questions for Dan. He's used several of them in sermons here recently, but there was a lot. So there we go.
Real serious.
Yeah. But started out as sermons. Or we couldn't squeeze them in the next couple months. So what we decided is I'm going to have a little conversation with Dan. I'm going to ask him your questions, which if you have more questions, feel free to submit those to us. And I'm going, at this point, I wonder how much this was actually a conversation or how much of it was just me sitting back and going, well, I'm going to listen to Dan. So Dan, here is the first question that I'd like you to kind of bring some points out from the Bible for us. But someone asked, do we pester God? Do we bother God when we pray to him all the time?
The short answer is no.
That's the start of your first,
The short answer is no.
No. We have so many videos that start with you just going, no.
We told him, beginning in verse 5, the story of a friend that goes to his friend's
Now that old man there, whoever he is, he's talking about in Luke chapter 11 about the friend at midnight.
Yeah.
goes to his friend's house, banging on the
Just
door.
knocking
and says,
like crazy.
I know
Yeah.
it's midnight.
And I am studiously listening.
You were much more respectful to me back then than you are now.
Let's see, we would have been officially working together like a year and 2 months, maybe at that point. So we were still getting to know each other at this point.
Or boldness. He gets up and gives him the bread, and then the application Jesus gives is this. He says, therefore I say to you, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it will be open to you. So the point of the story was, if you don't ask.
Because you were, at this point, you were still the main preacher here at Broadway.
Yes.
I was the new kid on the block as the worship minister, children's minister.
Yeah, it was 2 years after this that we hired our preacher.
Yeah. And so there were still many Sunday or weeks when you would come in and like still hand me a song list. And you just go, this is what I want. So this was a big deal, like doing something where I was kind of taking the lead on a project between the two of us.
Yeah.
But you can still see me going, I don't know what I'm going to add to this conversation.
Well, now we're in Luke 18 about that unjust judge and that widow woman.
Yeah. And I still haven't said much of anything.
Now you're sitting there looking like, I don't know, you're looking kind of weird there, Jed. You should stop me and say, but Dan, what about this?
I
And what about
know. It's funny to me watching this because I'm going, like, all I'm doing is making sure and
that?
going,
You're going,
and make a grunt of assent.
you know, you should be more like that around me. you should be more respectful. Like you,
Are you saying we jab each other a little more nowadays?
yeah, it's funny.
Oh, listen.
He
You're a way
speaks.
later. At any point, should you recognize that answer and stop praying? Or maybe should you just be listening harder for a different type of answer? I mean, how do you know how to proceed in those sort of situations?
Good practical
Well,
question.
Yeah,
obviously,
it was.
God has told us in His Word several times to, pray according to God's will. And if we're asking something that in some way, whether it's contrary to His written will, it does something.
But see, he's thinking about that person out there, like anybody that's struggling in life and praying, and what should they actually do in their life when this situation comes up? And that's a great question, and I want to think about that too as we do these next videos.
Yeah. And I think as time went along, I think we got much better at not imagining a straw man out there, but actually having like a core person.
Yeah,
Like usually when I'm trying to ask a question, I'm thinking about either the person who asked the question, if I know them, or I'm imagining, okay, what do I think that person was really trying to get at?
And I think over the last number of years, we've done pretty well in having that perspective as we go into answering the question. We often say the person that asked this question, I think they were getting at this.
Yeah.
when it comes to those things.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Dan, for those answers and for the practical
all right, Jed.
points you took out of the book of Luke this time.
All right, Jed, I like
And
your
like I
beard,
said,
though.
If you ever
It's
have
cool.
any other questions, we've got some others that we're going to address.
I know.
And we'll
It's a little
split those up
scraggly
and
right
send
now.
those out. But if
Oh,
you
the
have those
Abraham.
questions,
Okay.
reach out to us anytime, social media, give the church office a call. I'll put
Oh, I love that. I was asking them to call the church office.
I mean, again, this was for Broadway people.
Did we have rotary phones back then?
Pretty close.
No.
No.
Okay.
They were not digital phones. I remember that exactly.
That was fun.
But yeah, that's fun. And that was before, like, we had the period where we had the little ditty that I sang before the thing
What would
before the
you
thing
sing?
started. Let's see. It was like dum 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 dum.
Oh, you mean was it? What did you
dum.
actually sing it, or was
I
it?
made that up. Like there's
Jed-
a fun fact for you.
Jed,
Yeah.
you are so talented.
Yeah, but-
What would you sing as? How about "Oh Danny Boy"?
no, let's not.
Okay. Oh Danny Boy.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so that was fun. It is amazing how stiff we were.
Yeah.
We were so uncomfortable.
Yeah, especially you. No,
I mean, but really,
kidding.
I mean,
I was stiff.
I'm sitting there just going like, I don't know how to react. I don't want to say something wrong.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Man. So yeah, if any of you have been watching since the beginning, comment down below. We'd love to know if anybody has actually been with us all 7 years.
Yeah, all your snide remarks will be much appreciated.
Oh man. I will say it's been fun to hear from people who picked us up later that went back and started watching.
Yeah.
Or they've picked us up on podcast instead of just on the video, because eventually we started putting things on podcast, which not all of them are available. I didn't put all the back catalog onto the podcast.
But a lot of people use that catalog as
yeah.
resources, different places.
Yeah. So another shout out. If you ever want the catalog, just shoot us an email. The same email in the old video still works today.
Absolutely.
And I'd be glad to send that along. So thanks for watching. I think next time we're going to talk about our top 10 videos that we recorded.
Fun.
Yeah. So thanks again. We'll see you next time.
Bye.